A short 3-minute clip, roughly, CBC interviewing Pierre Poilievre. Terrible answer. Canada needs, I'm sorry, a different Conservative leader.
Government was blocking that. But I want to talk to you about a related issue here, which is about emissions, carbon emissions. I've been covering you for years.
Pathetic.
I cannot recall hearing you talk about concerns around climate change.
You're not scared about climate change like we are, Pierre.
Do you worry about what climate change will do to our planet?
What a pathetic question. Pierre should say no. He should just say no. He should say we want clean air, clean water. We need to get back to building homes, growing the economy. He should say no. This is why he lost the election. He accepts the premise of this crap.
Poilievre.
Sure, that's why I'm so disappointed with the very problematic approach of the Liberal government, which has been to drive up energy costs and block projects from going ahead that would help the...
It doesn't matter what he says. It literally doesn't matter. He goes his whole answer. He could have the most eloquent answer in the world. You're accepting the premise of the question, you're going to lose.
I want to know what you'd call yourself. We are talking about like sea levels rising, worried about loss of biodiversity.
Oh, really? I skipped ahead a little bit through his answer because, again, it doesn't matter. We're loss of biodiversity. All these people, Bernie Sanders in 2019 said, oh, major cities are going to be underwater in under a decade. In the 2019, in a Democratic debate, this is clown world. There's no empathy shown here to like whatever the number is, 70% of Canadians that are struggling to get by. Do you care about the biodiversity?
You worry about those things.
Sure, and I also have solutions.
Again, like, don't say sure to that. Canada needs a different leader. I'm sorry if you like Pierre Poilievre and you're watching this. You can't accept the premise of that.
Like, if we were to displace dirty Asian coal-fired plants with clean Canadian natural gas, according to the National Bank, we could reduce global emissions by 2.5 billion.
You're never going to get there with this answer. You're never, he does have a good answer. Like, I think the whole thing. It's a good answer, but in their premise, it's not going to work. You have to say, like, you don't have to accept the premise of the question. The next leader of the Conservative Party, I really hope, by the way, it's not Pierre. They've got to get somebody else in there that says, we're not talking about that. I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this other thing. This is just, tell me I'm wrong. I'm right. Like, this is never going to work.
Reducing global emissions. But the real difference between myself and the Liberals on this is they believe in keeping it in the ground.
Oh, yeah, really?
Energy abundance, and that is the approach that we would take to the environment.
You say you're worried about climate change. Why have we not seen you ever commit to emissions reductions targets?
I just did right now.
That's not a target. That's saying we should do.
So that's a little better. He's just being like, but not really. I mean, I did do that.
More to reduce our emissions. That's not about meeting the Paris targets. That's not saying our.
Nobody cares. Maybe 100,000 Canadians in the whole country care about this, maybe.
2030 targets are wrong.
Maybe they say they do, but like, how can you possibly care about this if you're struggling to make ends meet?
Should be higher, lower.
The current government is not meeting its emissions
but
targets.
I'm asking whether you think those are valuable targets,
This is so bad. This interviewer is just like, do you care about what I care about? Do you have anxiety like me?
About what the federal government is doing, which you've been clear about.
It would be very easy. In fact, it would be very
again. Pierre, you gotta pivot. You just talk about whatever you want to talk about. Make the interviewer like. I'd go totally like. I would just first of all say no, and then I'd bring up all kinds of crazy stuff like just to get the conversation off of this. Not crazy, but I'd be like, oh well, do you care about it when newcomers to Canada are like defecating on beaches? Is that good for climate change? Because that actually happened. There was lots of reports of that in Ontario. I saw recently like some sort of religious symbol put into water to dissolve apparently on the beaches. I mean, maybe that was just some story on X. Maybe that's misinformation or disinformation, but there's certainly stories of lots of litter, newcomers to Canada just littering into the forest. Do people care about that? It's all this whole climate thing is just a thing to pretend to care about, to pretend to like sound like an elitist person. Anyway, I'll quit the rant now for now. I think you get my point. I'll finish the video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.